Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Hi, guys. Hi, it's Thom Filicia and Miss Laura Lafrene. How are you? How's sound, by the way? How are we doing on our sound? Sound is good. Yay. Thanks, Laura. Hi, everybody. Today is Wednesday. I always tell everybody what day it is because I feel like I have to think about it every day. I'm like, what is today? It's amazing that I have to do that. No, today's Tuesday? Today is Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, right? Okay, so today is Tuesday. This is what I'm talking about. I actually am, I'm constantly trying to figure out what day it is. So today is Tuesday. Welcome to Tuesday, everybody. We are welcome to another episode of House Calls, and thanks for being here. We're really excited. Today is Tuesday. I've determined, or is it Wednesday? Is it possibly Wednesday? It is Wednesday. Oh my God, it's Wednesday, silly. I know. I don't know whatever day it is. I just don't know what day it is. I swear to you. I have to go through this. I really thought it was Tuesday. Okay. Anyways, sorry about that. I hope is everybody going through this as well? I feel like I'm losing my mind. But anyways, I'm glad to be losing my mind with a group of friends. So I appreciate you guys coming out to lose your mind with me. And thank you, whoever just said, Tom, your house beautiful tour was great. Thank you so much. We're gonna do we're gonna post that soon. So that'll be fun. Thanks for doing that. I'm glad it worked out. It was fun. It was a really rainy day. So maybe we might add some little pieces that are on a day that's a little bit nicer, and the landscaping hopefully will start to get done and all that stuff. But anyways, it is a beautiful day here today. It is sunny and gorgeous, and I think spring has sprung this week. I think in central New York, upstate New York, where I am, I think spring is actually here, which is very exciting. And we'll be able to get flowers and other things that we haven't been able to get at the supermarket or wherever, whoever's open. So anyways, welcome to House Calls. Today, we are going to be with the magnificent Mary McDonald. She is a West Coast designer. I know we all know her from, a lot of people know her certainly from her work in television, but also we know her as a fabulous, amazing, I love her work designer. So let's see if Miss Mary McDonald is ready to join us. And let's see. How are we? Today is Wednesday. Laura Lafrene is letting me know that today is Wednesday. I don't know why this won't go. Hold on. There we go. Oh, there she is. The ever gorgeous Mary McDonald. There she is. I'm very excited. She is a ton of fun. She's a ball of energy. If you've never heard her talk.
Am I doing this right? Oh, okay, good.
Hello. Yes,
wait,
you
I
are
have to
doing
look
this
at myself here.
Look at you. You look amazing.
I put on makeup. I'm looking a little baby Jane.
Do
you remember whatever happened to baby Jane? Wait a minute. I'm not prepared.
Look at you. You look amazing.
Oh, thank you. I honestly almost couldn't get on this.
Really?
I figured out. Yeah, because I don't think I've done an Instagram live. I haven't. You're my first.
Oh my God. I'm so glad that I'm your first. That's awesome. We'll share this. This will be our thing forever then. First of all,
you might be my last.
How are you? Are you good?
I feel so guilty saying this.
Yeah.
It's such a horrible thing for the world and the economy. That's not what I feel guilty about saying. I love it. I love my alone time.
Well, you know what? Let me ask you a question. You're like you have an amazing personality. You are so vivacious and alive and fun. So is it?
Thank you.
You are. Thank you. You're very sweet. But I would imagine there is this kind of freedom of knowing that there's really nothing going on. So being home feels kind of like, you don't feel like you're missing out on it. You know what I mean? There is that There is that, like, I can be here and be peaceful.
I am really thinking I don't like being super, like, I don't like that stress.
Yeah, yeah, right. You don't? Isn't that funny? Because you seem like, I will tell you, to the world around you, because you're so effortless about it. Like, you're so much fun and you're so great. You're hilarious. And by the way, you always look like $1,000,000. So it's like,
Thank you.
you do. You always look amazing.
That's so, thank you. I don't, but I'm very selective. I'm going to cut you off because I cut everybody off because I talk too much.
Yeah.
I'm not always that way. And there's a birthday book I have that's this book I got, I don't know, like maybe it was 20 years ago. It's this really pretty book and it's like called Day of Birthdays.
I know, I have it. It's a big book. Right. Yeah.
My birthday, I'm called the Day of the Selective Exhibitionist. It is so true. I read it, it's like you're so private, but you're so not, that it's like an illusion.
It's like, right. Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't it weird? It's like this dichotomy of
that's interesting.
things you choose to be this like public person about. But I like to talk to a wall at a cocktail party.
No, I know, but I think that's amazing. And I think that a lot of times what people don't understand, when you are a very kind of gregarious person, and I fall into that category, that you can be shy at the same time and also be a little bit like, there can be that kind of juxtaposition of that sort of selective exhibitionist, you know what I mean? It's really interesting. I don't think people realize that. Also, because you know, we're being in the public eye, I think in the variety of ways that you are, you know, I just think people assume that you know, that's like your, you know, that you're like, that's just like your comfort, your happy place. But
it's not that it's not.
Yeah.
But I don't like want everybody in every personal part of my life, or some people, they really do. They like love it. They like a camera following them around, truly about everything. I'm so like I'm such a opposite.
Yes.
It's just very selective.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think this moment where we're all sort of quarantined, do you think that you're getting more in touch with that side of you right now?
I'm allowed to have it. And I don't feel any guilt or panic. There's no FOMO.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, I'm not young, and I'm like, maybe you should figure out what you want to do that is quieter, with not, you know, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right. But how is it?
The thing, like,
right. What's the new version? What is the next version of what this is? Right.
And just for me personally, it doesn't have to be
for the world.
I mean, I don't know what it is for the business. Like, this is like a world changer that isn't just decorating. Like, something weird is going to come out of this that I'm a little like.
Well, but think about this. I think, like, I always jokingly call myself low tech, because that's like
you're nothing compared to me, honey.
I consider myself low tech. And look at what we're doing right now. Yeah, look at what we're doing right now. And I think of myself as totally low tech. So I think that's really interesting. But so this is a thing that is part of what's going to happen. What was that?
You have to hold on. You have to hold on and just talk to her. I can't move this.
Yes.
My phone says it's low battery. And
yes. Go get your charger.
Of course, I never brought a charger or anything. Stay there.
I'll talk
her
to her.
She's pretty old. She probably knows some good stories. Hold on.
I will affectionately refer to her as Shaliqua. She's Shaliqua DeFontaine of the Long Island DeFontaines. Hello, Shaliqua. Well, first of all, for everyone who's watching, Mary McDonald, as always, she does not disappoint. She is hilarious. She is so much fun. She is absolutely stunning. I think I think I have a Mary McDonald crush.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I always just think you're just fun and fabulous and beautiful, and you're an amazing designer, by the way. You know, I love your work.
Hold on. Does everybody like this? Hold on.
Yes.
Wait. God. Hold on. Oh, And now it's just teetering on a plug because I didn't have that.
Oh, it's going to tip on the plug. You know what I do? Sometimes I roll up like paper towel. But you're good. You're good.
I could take this shell that's in a... I'm going to prop it up with a broken Nautilus shell. It's broken. God forbid I throw it out. No. Because, by the way, that could be like a craft. Hold on. This is so... Ooh, that's too close to my... That's too close to my neck. I need to... I'm not very good at this. Hold on.
Wait. Oh my God, this is gonna be my favorite ever. I have not laughed this hard ever on this.
Wait, this is good. Yes, you have, because I got on with you and Carson. I'm sorry, Carson.
Oh yes, okay. Carson does be
like the angle here. He's the funniest guy I've ever met.
He's really the funniest person. He really is, and he's. You know the other thing about Carson, he's a great guy. And if you ever work with him, he's really good.
Someone said some chewing gum and talk.
I don't even. Oh, you're good. You got it.
I like the chew. That's gonna take me some time. I'm gonna have to get in the car, and I don't know. I have rocks. So
you look. It looks great. Whatever you did, you're back in.
Good.
Yes. Whoever's asking me, yes, I am in Skinny Alice. So
wait. So you have that. You're at that lake house.
I'm at my lake house. Yeah.
That I'm looking at all for the past year. I've been looking at real estate in kind of upstate New York, Connecticut. Yes. I'm ready for my I Love Lucy. So I talked. Do you know Kim Gieske?
Yes.
Yes. Well, she's my friend out here, and she's like, "Oh, Tom, because I'm like, where's that lake thing?" Because I look at all these little places, and I think, okay, well, who lives near there that could come over?
Yeah.
And she told me all about when everybody went and bought everybody started to buy, just a handful of people. Like when you bought your house, I don't actually know where it is. Where is that?
So there's two places. So I had a house in the Hudson Valley on Copake Lake, and there was a group of us from all bought houses. There was like Sarah Ruffin and Paul Costello.
Yes, she tells me all those tales.
Yeah, she was from Domino, and he was a photographer, and then
I know Sarah.
Yeah, there was like a whole group. From New York. Anyways, and there was some people from Vogue and some fashion designers and whatever. So it was really fun. But you know what? It was a very small lake. I outgrew it, and this lake in this town is amazing. And what I love about it is we are not a derivative of New York City. So when I'm up here, the New Yorkers are like we're the minority. So it's really great. It's a totally different vibe.
What lake is this? I didn't.
This is called Skinny Atlas. Skinny Atlas Lake.
Are there friends up there?
Yeah.
I'm sniffing around to be bugged. Maybe your neighbor.
I'm looking at my friend's house. They have a huge, amazing, gorgeous house that is across the lake. That they live in Tribeca. Then I have my good friends Billy and Jeffrey. They live in West Chelsea. And then there's people who are from New York. There's people who are from Boston. There's people who are from upstate New York. It's like it gets a mix of people. Oh, Syracuse, Rochester.
But where is it? Like on the map?
If you look at New York State and you put your finger right into the middle, it's that's where it is. It's basically above Cornell, like Ithaca, like New York, below Rochester, and kind of southwest of Syracuse. It's like right in the middle. It's in the Finger Lakes of New York. All these like long lined up.
I did
one of those.
I do look up these properties. There was also a camp in one of the Finger Lakes. Look, I'm so ill-informed. I'm dangerous. It's like that lady doesn't even know what she's talking about.
Well, wait a minute.
Something like Schenectady?
Skinny Atlas. No?
Is that, maybe it's Europe? Is there a property for sale that's really big and it used to be kind of a hotel or a school, or it was such a great, I was like,
No, I don't think so.
It's in one of these lakes. And
interesting.
Anyway,
that sounds very cool. But wait, let me ask you a question. Speaking of all of this geography, what are you a California native? Like, where
I am a California native, but I went to Boston University, and then after undergraduate, I went to Parsons for fashion. Actually, interior design. I just was kind of good at it, and then I just let myself be beat over the head doing as I went. I still get beat over the head.
Yeah.
Because there's things you don't know, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Well, I was gonna say, to me, you have a very East Coast and West Coast sensibility. Like, that's why I had to ask you that question, because I think of like your personal, like the way you carry yourself. I could totally see you as a New York gal or a LA gal, like very easily. Like you're kind
I'm not really that LA, so I can see why.
Yeah.
I'm not blonde, but you don't have to be blonde. I can veer into kind of a preppy dress thing.
Yeah.
Or like,
yeah.
I actually relate. I intended to live in the East Coast. I lived in New York City, like throughout my 20s. My mother passed away early, and I ended up in some crazy family, all these things we had to handle, and I lived with someone for 20 years. I just ended up in LA, but I never intended, that was my intention, because I can relate to it. Just to the topography, there's something that makes me happy. It's not any reason. It's like, I love driving through Connecticut. I love driving through the Hudson Valley. I love the fields and the farms. There's something I love about it. Like,
funny. I was talking to Michael Bruno the other day. Yeah. And Michael was talking about how he loves upstate New York, and that there are these kind of like little villages and little towns that all sort of connect. And he said it reminds him so much of sort of the European countryside, which I have to say, it kind of like, I think visually when you drive around the finger where I am, it looks like Ireland or,
And I love Ireland.
Yeah.
How far are you from New York City driving?
I'm a 4-hour drive from New York, so it's a long drive. We're far. But I have to say, to me, getting out of that bubble, it changes everything in terms of, when I was in the Hudson Valley, my brother's in the Hamptons, a lot of my friends are in the Hamptons, and I love the Hamptons, and I really enjoyed the Hudson Valley, but you're still a part of, like, you're there, and it's like, it's New York. You go and you get a coffee and it's New York, and it's New York.
That's true.
It still has, I never felt like I got out of the bubble. And when I'm here, I'm completely out of the bubble. And also what's interesting is you're part of a community that is very much a community that's intact. So it's not like if they lost the New Yorkers here, nothing would change. You know what I mean? Like if they lose the New Yorkers,
local.
Yeah, it's a real. So I put myself into another kind of, bubble, which is kind of cool. It really feels like an escape. Like when you're here, when I get back to New York, I feel like I've been in another, like people move at a different pace. Everyone, it's just different. So, people were dropping food. When I was sick, when I first had COVID, they were dropping every night. I would have bags on my front door.
Since I have isolated myself so much, you had COVID?
Yeah,
I don't even know what, you might as well have pulled me out of a time capsule.
Yeah.
Like, clearly you're not paying it. You had COVID?
I did. Yeah. But I mean, like, I didn't have it. It wasn't that bad. It was like, I had it for like a week in New York, and then I got better. A week and a half in New York, I got better. And then I came up to my house, and then I got pneumonia, which I didn't know that was happening. And that's when it got really dicey. But then that got better in 3 days because the miracle of antibiotics. And
did you know you had COVID, or you just were like, I think I have the flu, and then you got tested?
I thought I had allergies in the beginning. I was telling everyone, I think my allergies are acting up, because I couldn't figure out, because it felt very different. And then I had a headache, and I thought that was allergy related. And then I got, I was like not feeling great. And then I just had fever for 7 days in a row, which is like very debilitating. You know what I mean? You're just like, because you can't really sleep, and you're up every,
So you're hot. You were hot. Like, it wasn't just.
Oh my God.
You're like, I'm
hot and then freezing. Hot and then freezing. Hot.
But when was this?
The beginning of March.
Oh,
I mean, it was 3,000 years ago. Yeah, it feels.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, I mean, it was like there was like no wheel, and there was no electricity when it happened.
Right. So did you know it was COVID? Or you're like, I don't know what this is?
Well, what it was is I just kept checking off the boxes. Like, okay, well, they said everything that was COVID, I checked the boxes, except for I didn't have the respiratory thing until I got to my house, which was over a week later. and the COVID symptoms were dissipating for like 3 days. And then I started feeling weirdness in my chest, and I thought, oh, now I'm going to get the chest thing. And it ended up that was pneumonia, which, by the way, my doctor said, which is very typical of you get a secondary infection from your body trying to, like, your body somehow goes out of whack with COVID. And one of the things that happens is when your body's immune system goes banana town, it ends up letting in other secondary viruses. So that's how I end up with,
Your immune system is so compromised.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary, the things that are coming out that, I mean,
Now,
there's people that I just know this from people that are in the medical industry. There's people that have lost limbs, like they have to cut your limbs off, like vascular things are happening. It's not the mass.
Right. But it happens. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they're also realizing that there's a lot of things that that happened prior to them really understanding COVID at all that were COVID, but they didn't understand. They're just realizing. So I do think that they're starting to figure out a lot more about it. And
Did you get the test or no? You're just like,
I'm actually going for the antibody test. I think my time is next week. It's like Tuesday of next week. So I'm doing my antibodies here. I was originally going to do it in New York City, but I figured now that it seems like they're doing it well everywhere now, or better than it was before.
So can I ask you about your lake house? Can I go back?
Yeah.
Driving 4 hours.
Yes.
Do you feel like between your office and your jobs, do you feel like you can spend enough time there to really enjoy it?
Yeah, I do. I actually do a lot of long weekends when I'm here, which is nice because it forces me to do long weekends. The other thing is I actually love the drive because for the first 2 hours, I'm kind of doing New York stuff. And then there's like silence for like a half hour or an hour. And then I kind of like start doing my upstate New York stuff. And it's interesting. It's like it gives me it's a pretty consistent drive. There's not crazy traffic.
Do you do it on a Friday? I'm actually asking you all these things for myself.
Yeah, no, I got it. I usually go Thursday night or Friday morning. And,
okay, take Friday off and do office. You deal with your office virtually, which actually you can do between show me the drawing, send me the thing. Yeah.
And even now, I feel like now it's even become that much more applicable to the way we work. And, we're, as you know, and you're doing the same thing. It's like doing projects in Montana and Florida and California, wherever you're working. And we're working in Turks and Caicos. And so you're working kind of remotely on so many projects.
Anyway, you work anyway remotely. So I'm sort of, unless you have to be.
Right. Unless it's, I do all my meetings with clients during that middle part of the week or, and in the winter, it's not as critical. I'm only up here maybe once a month in the winter for a long weekend. But I wanted to ask you, so you're West Coast, right?
Am I allowed to talk to people? I realize people. Hi, London. I have a British passport.
Mary, you're a legend. You are a legend. I love that.
I don't even know what I'm a legend for, though. Did you ever find, by the way, I would like to just have a throwback about the first Queer Eye. Like when was that? Like what year was that?
I think it was 2003. I think we came out in 2003.
Don't even follow shows. I would make sure I watched that because I found it to be hilarious. Like I really I don't watch the new one, and I'm sure it's funny and nothing against them, but I feel like one of those old people, like, oh, you needed to be around when it was really music. You know that? Like, oh,
that's hilarious.
Music.
That's funny. Well,
I wish you guys would get together and do it again.
Well,
with
so
the guy.
There's so much. There's so many things kind of like percolating at this moment. Carson and I did a show called Get a Room that we did last year on Bravo. That was actually a lot of fun. And we did 10 episodes. And that was great. It was a very, it was a heavy project for us. It was just a lot of work. And we really loved it. But it was just really fun to be working with him again, and sort of that everyday kind of thing.
He's so funny. Like the constant entertainment is
Yeah.
I mean,
He's hilarious.
I don't know what it's really like to be him inside him, but who cares? I'm not to be. I can catch him. Right?
That is so funny. And he actually, I'm actually have a call with him today at 3 about a new project that we're talking that's kind of in works, if you know. So we'll see how that goes. But he's great. He's a lot of fun to work with. They're all great. You know, we're all still super close. Do you know that we just did celebrity we just did Celebrity Family Feud with the old Yes, and it comes out. Yes.
It out?
No, it comes out on the 31st, Sunday the 31st. And it'll comes out on Sunday the 31st, and it will be it's you can anyways, it's Celebrity Family Feud. I think the premiere episode, and it comes out Sunday the 31st this month.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can only picture the one-liner.
Yeah.
Funny.
Well, it's so funny. So you were asking about the lake. You know, I designed a restaurant here called the Elephant and the Dove, which you can see on my portfolio, which is really cool. And then I'm actually doing like three houses up here right now. So there's like, so we're doing some really, so, you know, it's kind of an interesting, you'd love this little town. I don't know, it might be too far away for a lot of people, but I love, it's a really fabulous town. Skinny House is really cool.
I looked at things that are kind of far.
You should come up and stay with me. We have a fun weekend. I'll take you on the boat.
Be careful.
Do you water
ski?
Do you water ski? I would love it. I would tell you.
I don't think I water skied since Catalina Island Girls Camp, but hey, I ski.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you here in the winter? Do you ski in the winter?
I do, but I do. Yeah.
I'm a big skier. I was in Aspen twice this year. I was then going to be in Telluride, and then everything got cut short because, you know, we were sheltering in place. COVID.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up here. I grew up in central New York. I grew up in a suburb of Syracuse. They're like an old suburb, like almost like in the city, in downtown almost. And I grew up here. My parents moved to Southern California, to San Diego, Rancho Santa Fe, when I was, I think, in college. And a lot of
people's parents moved to Rancho Santa Fe.
Yeah,
they were there for a while.
I have a brother who is a lawyer who actually went to school. He went to Whittier in LA, and then he went to I feel like I think he may have finished there, and then he moved to San Diego and opened a law firm. And his wife's a lawyer, his son's a lawyer. So yeah, and they all go to school on the East Coast, but then they go back. They're all back on the West Coast now.
Oh, so you have a brother that's a lawyer too.
Yes, yeah. Lots of them. My sister-in-law, my nephew, they're all there. So wait a minute. So speaking of that, so when you started after fashion, how did you make the segue into interior design?
Well, it didn't happen overnight. People just asked me to start decorating because I always decorated my space. I actually loved decorating. I just loved fashion more first, and I had a successful accessories business, and I was a milliner. I didn't intend to be a milliner or an accessory designer. I actually just started making hats because it was the late 80s. Do you remember everybody wore a hat? Do you remember that crazy?
Yes. Yeah.
Out. Yeah. People would have hats with flowers. It was just something for fun.
Yeah.
After Parsons, and somehow it started to take off. So I mean, and stylists took them out because they were in Maxfield's. Like, that's our expensive, weird store that has everything from Europe. And it I was like, okay, I'm just going to start this, and it's working, and then just grow it. But through my 20s, I found that to be a little hard.
Right.
That's very hard. I was like, this is beyond me, how hard this is.
Yeah, fashion is
that was never, yes. I mean, I'm not even a good business person now. I have a mom and pop brain. Like, delegate, and then I try to do it. I'm just like, let me micromanage you so I can't grow.
It is a non-scalable concept.
Crafty person.
That's
Does that make sense? I'm really a hands-on craftsy person. But anyway, you asked me a question. How did that start? I always had a pretty apartment, even, you know, for my age. When I was my dorm room, I decorated my half at BU, and I made it all black and white and red. I mean, now that I think about it, it was pretty hideous, but it was done. It was done hideous.
Who had it? Yeah, done. Yeah.
I had this Steinberg lithograph. It was actually, but I made the effort to do it. So I had a natural, you know, one of those people that, you know, there's people that are stylish.
When I lived in my fraternity house in college, I designed my room, but I kind of tried to not design it too much because I didn't want to be called out. I under-designed it, but it was definitely done. It was definitely done.
Do you have pictures of it? So it's probably so obvious. You probably had a bust and a bowl. And
no. I did. But I did have a huge bowl of Advil next to my bed. That was like, I mean, I was not a health nut. That is for sure. But I also, one year I painted my floors red. Like I was like a kind of like an oxblood red, because I had these like weird floors. So I was like, they were all chopped up. So I was like, I just painted them like an oxblood red. And everybody was like, wow, what in the world? And I was like, I don't know, I just thought it was kind of like, give it a little spin. And I was like,
that's kind of daring. So what was your inspiration? When, you know, before you were really studied at it?
I think what it was at that point, I think that year that I did that, I think it was maybe after the summer I worked at Parrish Hadley. It might have been my senior year. Yeah. Okay. I was an intern at Parrish Hadley, and I think that there was a lot of painted floors. You know, they were doing like chevron and other, you know, kind of cool things, and like, you know, or it was just a very intricate thing. But I was just like, the idea of the painted floor was just kind of something that I was like, oh, that's such a great idea, because for like $20 I can have, like, instead of like an ugly janky floor, I could just, with a roller and all I had to buy is a 6-pack and convince 2 of my fraternity or two just give them a beer and be like, push this around.
I still think that way. I'm just like, just paint it. Don't even tear it out. Paint it. We can get something.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
I do. I love a painted floor.
I do too. And I also love a paint, like, you know what? It was like a big thing. Like, I remember when I was young, it was just like, I would just like anything paint it chalky white. Like, you could literally paint any chair chalky white and it's fabulous.
I still get like, to other people that, you know, might not have a big budget, I was like, I don't know, just paint it chalky white. It was my solution to everything.
To everything, right?
It's still not bad. It's like actually still kind of
look, I still use it. It's still, look,
I live go-to.
Yeah, no, I love it. And that chalky white, always like, it's not durable at any level, but it just looks so delicious.
No,
you know?
No, to keep it chalky and to do the right chalky finish, you're going to have someone like wax it with some steel wool and like, that's a whole.
I never did any, and I sold it.
No, I just let it get dirty and wiped it off.
Yeah, me too.
And by the way, I still might.
Yeah. Well, also making it, when it has a few scuff marks, it looks like it's, you know, it gives it a little, it's like, it's just the right amount, you know, you just don't want to get too. So let me ask a question. Were you self-taught as a designer?
Yes.
You are. You're self-taught.
Yes.
Love that. Was that, okay, so when you're
so many people are.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
But it's not that I would never hire someone that just told me they had great taste, because I need them to do all the programs, everything I need, planned out, elevations. I can't.
But you also, first of all, you had a design background at school, first of all, so you understood the design process, and also having a business, even though you think of yourself as mom and pop, you know, not a lot of young people are running their own business right out of school. So even with that, you have a business acumen that probably not everybody even understands at that point, certainly right out of school. So I think
I just had moxie, really.
Yeah, moxie, yeah.
Really just a little more moxie. I read someone say a quote that once you know how things really work, it's actually harder for you to It's harder because you're actually realizing
you're overwhelmed.
I
you're like,
I can't do. I'm not supposed to be doing this. So yes.
I always tell people, I say, yeah. If you wait until you think you're, you know, old enough or smart enough to have a baby or buy a house or start a business or do anything, you're never going to do it. You just have to be like, I know enough to be dangerous and I've got to get going.
That's my motto. I can't say every single thing I've ever started worked out. Sometimes I was like, why did okay, what was I thinking? But, you know, there is a little bit, it kind of depends on also, I had really sort of family members, or some of them,
right.
Where they were always like very supportive of, oh, you go. By the way, they were looking at like a fabric covered pickle jar, telling me, now that I still have my first when I was 5. A pickle jar, I have it in storage. I'm like so overly sentimental. I covered a
fabric covered pickle jar.
Really
so talented.
Yes, but you know, when you have a parent that lets you, that tells you, you know, you actually can do this, you can do that, you can do this, I think that's helpful. I agree. So I wasn't super scared.
So I think Moxie, I think Moxie has a lot to do with getting out there and just kind of jumping in and participating. Look, I always tell people, like when we're interviewing, you know, I always tell people, you know, just being present, being super excited, motivated, interested, fascinated, like having great energy. That's 99% of what I'm looking for. I mean, I like knowing how to draft and all that stuff is like great, but it's like, I'm really looking for someone who's got like that sort of energy. And first of all, I want to say, let me just tell you this, because I just want you to know, I love your work. What I love about your work is that it's timeless, but it's so like sexy and cool at the same time. And it's very elegant, and there's a sort of a ladylike quality to it, but it's always daring and unexpected, which I think is so cool. So I'm a big fan of your work, and I love that you're self-taught, because so many people reach out to me, or when I'm doing a lecture or any kind of like, young people are always asking, like, should I go back to school to be a designer? What should I do? And how should I, you know, if they don't have an interior design background. So I love the idea of you know, talking about how you just kind of jumped in, and it was that you were interested in design. Obviously you went to design school, which is very helpful. And fashion and interiors, I have a lot of, you know, overlap. But I think that's a really cool story for a lot of people to understand, because, you know, because you are so talented, and you really kind of jumped into it, which I think is cool. But were there any things that happened that like you had to learn the hard way, that you were like, oh God, like?
Well, there's a couple we probably can't talk about. And, but you know, first of all, I just have to say thank you for saying that to me, because that means a lot to me, coming from you, someone who is trained and such a name. Because I have to say, it's not like everything worked out for me, and some things over the years happen that feel like little rejections and hurt my feelings. Like, I'm just like, and I'm saying this for other people out there, if whoever's listening, like, you're not bulletproof. You know, people, right. Because I was on television, and then I'll get to the other question.
Yeah.
People will adore you, and people will go after you and be really mean to you. In case, did you ever notice that? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, people do feel like when you put yourself in front of, you know, in front of the public at that level, or in front of the television audience at that level, people, and I think because we both worked in reality television, people do feel like they kind of know us, because our character is us. We're ourselves. We play ourselves. And so people do feel like they know us, which I love and I think is great. And so many interesting things come out of that. But the unusual thing that comes out of that is that people feel like they can say anything to you. Like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, you're so much, you're so thin. You're like, you look so good in real life. And I'm like,
I don't
okay.
mind those. Those don't really totally hurt my feelings because I can see they're trying to be nice. Sometimes people
No, they are. They are, but
they will say things to me like, "Oh my God, you're so much younger in person."
Yeah.
Or
they talk to you like you're really good friends. And by the way, I love that. I love that familiar conversation, and I actually like that component of reality television is that you do get to know people, but it is very funny. Sometimes people will say things that you're like, we just met. We just met.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I actually don't mind those.
Yeah.
I don't mind that because I put myself in that position.
But I'm like, you do realize we just met.
Yeah. No, they think we're friends. They think we're actually like truly friends, or they'll say, we're friends on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, they know you because you're just being yourself. And so they feel like,
I don't mind that.
Yeah. And by the way, that is kind of one of the things that makes, I think, reality television so appealing to a lot of people, is that you do get to sort of connect with people and who they really are. Hopefully, I mean, I try to be as authentic, and I don't really, I'm not an actor at any level, so I can't pretend to be any other jackass other than my jackass self.
People without filters. I was like, I don't have a filter on, but
I think I have a little bit of a filter.
Oh, you do? I don't know how to do them. I want one that goes.
I have a tiny little bit.
Like this.
I have a panic filter. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, I get panicked and I'm like, oh my God, I want to make. I also try to bring a lot of different people together. I love bringing people that are different together, and I like having a mix of everybody. Like, that's always been my thing.
I actually do have a filter. People would. I have lots of things that are over here I would never say. People think I say anything to people's face. I'm like, I really don't, if you really look at it. But you did ask me a question, and I can't remember. I was said, thank you. Thank you. I really can't tell you. That really means a lot to me, because I was talking about people that are like mean, that write mean things, that say my work is terrible. I had like lots of things where I'm like, that's so mean.
Come on. Who says that to you?
Someone that lives in an old house of mine wrote on a blog how terrible my work is, and like illegal stuff, like I ruined this antique home, things that never happened, just things. People say weird things. So my point is, that means a lot to me for you saying that. So I really do appreciate that, because it's just work.
And by the way, I really mean it. I really am I'm 100% honest. I do. I really like your work a lot. I think it's awesome, actually. And I love that you're so hot.
Thank you.
Yeah, no.
Did we record this? I need it. On a low day.
We are definitely recording.
Listen to what Thom said.
So I want to ask you, who inspires your aesthetic? Like, who is your, like, do you have anyone that...
I don't have one person. Like, there is no one. Honestly, don't so many people, I'm not a one look person, though. I'm a little bit more like a production designer, but people don't probably know that because they've never seen the different kinds of work.
Right.
Totally. I do. Either I haven't had it photographed yet, or I'm kind of saving it for another book.
Yeah.
So I like everything. I like really overdone old school, like, whose house I loved? Kenneth J. Lane's. Do you remember that house?
Yes.
It was...
Yeah.
I never went over there. Yeah. Did you? Some people know.
No.
But I thought that was so magical. And I love that whole thing. I mean, all the LED decorators I love. But I don't really love? Please don't get mad, everybody. Like, I don't relate to parts of it. But like, I'm not a total Dorothy Draper person.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Oh, wait. I think you disappeared for a second. Oh, wait. Your sound. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Hold on. Sound. I hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Wait. Let me see how this goes. Let's see what happened. Sound. Let me see if I can fix it. Is it me? Hang on. Okay, let me just see. What do I do? Hang on. Mary has no sound. It was Dorothy. Here, let's see. Can you hear me? My sound is okay, apparently. I don't know. Let's see. I think we can hear Thom. We can't hear Mary. Mary, I'm here. Where's your voice? By the way, how hilarious and wonderful is this fabulous woman? I love her. She's going to do something. Reboot. Oh, reboot, Mary. Reboot. Yeah, that's a good idea. And call back. Yeah, okay. There we go. Mary McDonald left. Let's see. I have a feeling she has to refresh. Her phone. Is she not the most fun ever? Everyone who's watching, I mean, Mary McDonald is like, she is just so much fun. I have to tell you, every time I see her at an event, whether it's a cocktail party or a business, like like Legends of La Cienega, or she's in New York City, it is just such a delight to hang out with her. And when she and Michelle Nussbaumer are together, and they are just a house on fire. They are so much fun. They are hilarious. It is just hours and hours of knee slapping hilarity. Let's see if she's back. Hang on. Let's see if she's back. She is not back. Okay. So someone was asking what's on the mantle today. So I've been like just kind of moving shit around basically. So I have this like 400-pound eagle that I have a couple of them in my house, and they move around. They're always in a different place. It's a steel eagle painted chalky white, just like I was talking about with Mary McDonald. I bought them in New York City. I bought 2 of them. There's one there, and then look, there's one there. And I love them, and I use them as centerpieces. I move them around. They're great. They're steel. They weigh about a gajillion pounds. They're cast steel. They're probably from like the 30s. I don't know, maybe. That's sort of what they look like to me. And I bought them in Soho in New York, and I think I bought them each for like $50 each. And they were black and rusty, and I just painted them white. And I bought them a million years ago. I would say, seriously, I was probably like, I don't know, 20 years ago. I think it was pre-Queer Eye. I've been carting these things around forever. And then I just have like lilies that are dying, that were lilies that were in a big vase over here, a glass vase. And I moved them back. I cut them, and okay, we can get her back on. And then there's a small little painting that I love. So that's kind of my little look for right now. Let's see, where is she? There she is. Okay, we're back with Mary. Oh my God, I love Mary. She's so much fun. We're gonna have to do another one with Mary because she's so like Are you back?
Oh,
yay!
Can you hear me?
I can. Yes, you're good.
Can you people hear me?
Yes. You know what was so funny while you were gone?
That was so exhausting. I had to get the glasses. I don't know what happened.
You look great. It happens to me all the time. It happens to me. It just sometimes you have to refresh it. Sometimes it just gets like quirky. I also think that everyone in the world is using using Instagram right now. So it's kind of doing a bunch of wacky things. But I will tell you, interestingly, someone asked me what was going on my mantle, and I said, that eagle that weighs 3,000 pounds, I
heard you. I could hear you.
Oh, you did. I painted a chalky white. So yeah. So that was a testament to what we were just talking about. So I have a question for you. How do you describe your style? Like if you had to describe it yourself. It's everything. You can do everything. You were kind of just saying that, right? But I mean, what's your
personal? Supposed to have this tagline.
Yeah, I know, it's so hard, isn't it? Like, I panic when people ask me that question, and I feel like everyone else knows, and I'm always like, I don't know.
I have to say, ladylike.
Yep.
Classicism.
Yep.
With some whimsy thrown in.
Yep, totally.
So that's not really a style, but I mean,
no, it is. And by the way, it's exactly what I said to you before. It's elegant. It's I think I even used the word. It's sort of like ladylike and proper and elegant, but it's also kind of like daring and like fun, and like it has moxie. It's cool.
I do like one element that might be actually just some arty, creative, weird thing that then I kind of get maybe ripped apart for.
Yeah,
and
it's
fun. Like some people will be like, oh, something that's kind of I know it's done.
Well, and
so it's 50-50. Sometimes it's good, and sometimes I don't know. Some people hate it, but it's fun for me. Yeah. I like kind of weird things that maybe aren't society perfect.
I like that. And by the way, I think that's interesting. That's an Albert Hadley thing. Albert Hadley always said you have to like mix in a couple of things that are unexpected, a little quirky, sort of gets people a little like, huh? Well, let me ask you a question. So
hi, Millie. Sorry, I'm just seeing.
Hi Millie.
Hi, Miss. You know what I loved? I always loved it because I kind of loved Jeffrey Bill Huber's work.
Yeah, I worked for him for almost 4 years.
You did?
I did, yeah. After I was at Parrish Hadley, then I went to Robert Metzger, then I went to Jeffrey Bill Huber. I did 3 years, 3.5 years.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I don't know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What projects did you work on? Because I know them all. He's actually.
Oh my God, I worked on. I worked on so many of his projects because like the Kranix house was one of the first projects I started to work on, but he had a lot of clients there where he was doing, like additions or things houses that he had worked on. So it was really fun for me because I was able to go into houses that I knew a lot about from like studying his work. And then, I don't know. I thought he was just a really interesting guy. I loved his work, and he was. I worked on so many. I worked on the projects in New York, Pennsylvania, Florida, the Bahamas. I mean,
like a lot of them that were in his luxury book. That's like a book I love. He has a colorful classic. The only reason I brought it up is you asked me about whimsy in my work, and I don't. And now we're talking about Jeffrey, but I loved his own apartment, and then he took, I think it was Degorney paper. It might be Gracie.
Yeah, and he did that stuff on it. Yeah,
but it's an artist, and I thought that's so cool.
Yeah.
And it's so perfectly done, and it's kind of a snake, but like it's like that is an example.
It was cool. It was cool. Yeah, I agree. I thought, and he actually is really an interesting person that way. And one of the, we were talking about. He was on House Calls. He's great. We're still close. He's a great guy. I love him. He has a son now, and
yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm friends, but I love that you work for him. I can kind of see that. You to me seem like a classicist with.
I think so. I mean, I think of myself as being sort of traditional and very classic, but I think people sort of see me as being very modern because it's so clean. I don't know. That's what I got.
I see you more like kind of a modern classicist, but like really kind of a. But I think TV confuses people. What they see on TV in a blurb or like something that is hip.
Well, also, so speaking of that, like you worked in television, you were $1 Million Decorator, right? And then also you did another show.
I'm sorry. I'm reading people's things, and my friend Lulu, who's a cook, goes, have you talked about spam yet? Because actually, we'll get to spam later. It has nothing to do with it. We talk about spam recipes.
I was telling everybody when you were away, and you probably heard this, but I'm like, we have to do this again because I have so many. I'm like, you're so much fun to talk to, and you are literally like, it's. I love you. We have to do this again. I hope you're enjoying this because I'm going to ask you to do it again like immediately.
This is fine because I've skirted anything I don't want to talk about. I'm talking about
No, I love it. I love it.
Cocktail fun. But you were asking me something, and I cut you off.
But you did $1 Million Decorator, right? And you also did Property Envy. And how did you get into TV? Like, how did you make that segue? Did you like it? Like, what was that experience?
Being in front of a camera is not hard for me. And if something's boring and you need to like just draw it up, but it ain't really happening, it's not that hard. Because it's almost like a little tennis game of fun. Like right now. TV was not my intention at all. I had been, I just got my book deal. No, I had my book deal for 2 years. Like, and that was like so exciting for me. And I had my Schumacher deal that was going to come out in a year or two. Nathan Turner, my dear friend Nathan, who had a great shop. He just said to me, he's like, you know, I'm going out for these TV shows and they're looking for a lady. Do you want to go see it? And the thought of being on reality TV to me was like beyond terrifying. And then all I could think of was super crazy people doing super crazy stuff. And I thought, God, I kind of worked so hard. And I feel like I worked hard on some legitimate things. And I have like a real book. I was really excited. My book is 10 years old. I haven't done another one. And I was so excited that I was a little afraid. I was like, I mean, not to put any names down or, you know, it's a different world. And then I thought, what are they going to do to you? So he brought me along. And because I think it was Jill Cohen, my book agent, said, don't even talk to me about this. Everybody in the world wants to be on TV. So don't tell me later that you regret that you didn't do it. Jill actually pushed me. She goes, everyone calls me. Is like, how do I get on TV? She goes, so just go on the interview and meet them. Oh, I tried a few screen tests to be the host on the design show that India Hicks was the host on. This is before that. I forgot. Got it. You remember what was it? Design?
Yes, I know.
The panel and everybody was on it.
That was early. Yeah. That was
a couple years before. Yeah. That's why. And I didn't mind doing that because it was like real designer people, but for some reason the production company really liked me but they were like, you're just kind of not anybody. So they kept sending these screen tests and I was like about to be it. And they were like, we can't bank on you. It's like, so I thought that would actually be fun. So I had a little interest. Yeah. So when I went to go on the other thing, Jill told me, look, I'm the worst storyteller. People are like, what is she talking about?
I love the way you tell a story.
Jill told me, I thought I would do something that was super design related and not necessarily crazy related. So I liked that idea. So tying that in, I just went on.
Oh, well, by the way, you're such
a natural. I'm not going to accept it if they. So what happened is I asked, oh, shoot, I'm frozen.
Yeah, I know, you're frozen. But wait, I was going to tell you, you're such a natural on TV. And I will tell you, just so you know, your sound's gone. Oh my God, your sound is gone. Can you hear me? Okay, so wait a minute. We can't hear you. I don't think we can hear you. Can you hear me? You can't hear me. Is it my sound? I think, well, everyone, it is 1:59 if you can hear me. And we don't have sound. I may have sound, I'm not sure. Can't hear you, Mary. Okay, they can't hear you, but you can hear me. So it's It's so much fun. We are going to do this again with Mary McDonald, whether she likes it or not. I'm going to get her to do it because she's so great. And we have so many things I still want to talk to her about. Tomorrow on House Calls, we are going to Palm Springs to hang out with Christopher Kennedy, Mr. Modern, and we're going to catch up with him and hear what's going on in his world, which I'm really excited about. We are also going to get this fabulous woman who I absolutely cannot get enough of, Mary McDonald, who is just an absolute ball. we're going to get her back on, and we're going to have more fun with her again. Is she not a delight? What a beautiful person and spirit she is, and an amazing designer. So anyways, thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for coming out and joining us on House Calls. Mwah. Have a great Wednesday now that I know it's not Tuesday, and we will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.